Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 23, Devahuti's Lamentation, text number 6. Kardama Uvacha Tushtohamadya Tavamana Vimanadayah Shushrushaya Paramaya Paraya Cha Bhaktya Yo Dehi Namayamateva Suhrit Sadeho Navekshitas Samuchitak Kshapitum Madharthe. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Translation. Kardama Muni said, O respectful daughter of Swayambhuva Manu, today I am very much pleased with you for your great devotion and most excellent loving service. Since the body is so dear to embodied beings, I am astonished that you have neglected your own body to use it on my behalf. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. It is indicated here that one's body is very dear, yet Devahuti was so faithful to her husband that not only did she serve him with great devotion, service and respect, but she did not even care for her own health. That is called selfless service. It appears that Devahuti had no sense pleasure even with her husband, otherwise she would not have deteriorated in health. Acting to facilitate Kardama Muni's engagement in spiritual elevation, she continually assisted him, not caring for bodily comfort. It is the duty of a faithful and chaste wife to help her husband in every respect, especially when the husband is engaged in Krishna consciousness. In this case, the husband also amply rewarded the wife. This is not to be expected by a woman who is the wife of an ordinary person. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport.
So Kardama Muni is very much impressed with the service rendered by Devahuti. Excellent loving service. And he says here that the material world, everybody is embodied. And for an embodied soul, the body is very precious, body is very body is taken care, is very dear. But Kardama Muni says here that you have even neglected your own health and you have been rendering selfless service to me. And Prabhupada explains that Devahuti did not seem to have any sense pleasure, even with her husband. So we see some wonderful things here, principles here. One is, Devahuti was serving Kardama Muni. So much so that she has become completely weak, emaciated, not caring for bodily comfort. At the same time, if she has to continue or if she had to continue to do this service to Kardama Muni all along, to have done such service, she must have had some kind of pleasure. That pleasure is loving service. If the soul receives this happiness of lovingly serving the Supreme Lord, push aside the need of this senses for sense gratification. Normally, when we think of pleasure or happiness, we simply think in terms of this body. And the prominent thing that comes in our mind is sense pleasure. And there our mind ends. Okay, pleasure means that. But actually, sense pleasure means is the smallest pleasure. If you take the total scale of pleasure or the spectrum of pleasure of loving service is what is very dear and close to the heart. Is very insignificant, he says. This we have to learn through the Shastras. We have to learn from the descending process of obtaining knowledge. Because we do not know what is in the spiritual world. We tend to visualize the spiritual world as a world where there is, here I am running mad after little sensation, sense gratification. So spiritual world will be a world where all my senses get so much sense gratification. Tasted good food. He's only tasted always, you can say spoiled food or somebody remnants something, a beggary kind of food he has got. But that is satisfying him little because something is better than nothing, food is required. Then he is creating a philosophy that one day I'll become so rich that I will have unlimited food. When he says unlimited food, he is thinking of the food of the type that he knows. So in the same way, here everybody is, especially in this Kali Yuga, especially those who are Satchidananda in the spiritual world, Satchidananda, our mind tend to go and, oh, now so much, all my senses will have so much. No, that is insignificant is what from the descending process we get knowledge. Sense gratification in the spiritual world is also insignificant. The sense rasa is there, but it is insignificant. The real rasa is loving relationship with the Lord, loving service with the Lord. That is a real relation, real pleasure, real rasa. Soul. The constitution of the soul is Ananda, but that Ananda is an Ananda of service to the Lord. In the material world also, if you see, people work very hard so that they will get sense pleasure. They can earn sense pleasure. You work so that by that money I will buy sense gratification, I will enjoy. This is also not the correct philosophy of progressive life, human life, according to Vedas. You should be working for the sake of work. This higher taste is what Krishna starts preaching to Arjuna in the Bhagavad Gita in the beginning chapters itself. Learn how to enjoy work rasa. Not work for the fruit. Work rasa. Take pleasure in work. Why? Because the ultimate pleasure of the soul is the pleasure that comes from every moment by serving. That pleasure that comes, that seva rasa, is the rasa of the soul. Why? Because we are eternal servants. We don't have sense pleasure, we have, but it is for every person in the spiritual world, that sense enjoyment, okay, it is a support, hi. It's like, that's not the pleasure food for the soul. The pleasure food for the soul. This sense enjoyment in the spiritual world is also meant for enhancing the service pleasure. It doesn't stand alone. It is part of loving exchange. Sense gratification it's not a standalone pleasure at all. Our existence this is a higher level of consciousness. Just like a person who believes that sense gratification is the basis of life, he's always seeking for the rasa, sense rasa. That means lust. He's always looking where I can get an opportunity to satisfy my senses. That is got hedonistic philosophy of the West. If there is an opportunity to maximize enjoyment, you should maximize. Life is meant to maximize enjoyment. And in their understanding, enjoyment means sense enjoyment. So maximize sense enjoyment. So just like they have a perception of sense enjoyment and they go on wanting to increase that, in the same enjoyment of the soul, he is always developed taking pleasure in doing service. In fact, he does not get distracted by sense enjoyment. See, the entire value for sense enjoyment changes. As you understand Srimad Bhagavatam, as you understand the spiritual life, the value of sense enjoyment, it changes. It is low in the rung of pleasures. So if we take pleasure in serving the Lord, not simply pleasurelessly serving the Lord, not serving the Lord in a disgruntled manner. Oh, I have to do service. I don't like it. No. Is not getting its constitutional pleasure, it will look for pleasure in sense enjoyment. If we take rasa in serving the Lord, that is a secret of giving up sense gratification altogether. That is the secret. That is what param drishta. Higher taste. Higher taste means higher taste of pleasure in serving the Lord. Now many people don't even know what that is, because they have not tasted it at all, because when you do an action, you can do that action in the spirit. Have a paradigm in our mind of fruitive action. So we always act to earn fruits. So when we come to devotion service also, there also we try to act to earn fruits for ourselves. That is devotion service mixed with the mode of passion. So devotion service means we have to act to give pleasure to the Lord. So unless we start doing that, we will not be able to taste that, because it's covered. In a karmi, that taste of serving the Lord is covered, is perverted. He has only pleasure in fruitive activities. Consciousness movement is giving an opportunity for people to start tasting their constitutional rasa, seva to the Lord. And in executing that seva, not only the sense gratification is not an issue, the devotee is capable of taking even austerities. Deprivation of senses. Sense gratification means providing the senses with something. A deprivation of senses. He is ready to deprive the senses of its need even, because of the rasa to serve the Lord. So Devhuti is rasa to serve her husband. It's a higher rasa. Because she's getting higher rasa, she's giving up all these bodily things. It's austerity is an austerity. It's not that, she's not having the pain. It's called labor of love. When the senses are deprived, you get pain. But that pain fades away into nothingness in the midst of the higher transcendental loving service pleasure that she is getting in serving the Lord. There's the quality of human being, the quality of the soul. The soul has evolved so much. The taste, the taste is different. We can understand little because we have started performing devotional service. Whereas those who are doing only fruitive activities, karmis, they cannot understand. They only think there is only austerity here. There is austerity and there is a soul. This austerity for the body, and the soul is enjoying itself. That's why it's called labor of love. Her loving service to her husband is able to take this pain and serve the Lord. So in devotional service also, when we come to practical devotional service, what is the role of tapasya of the body in devotion service? Let's say we are in Krishna consciousness movement and Prabhupada is giving us so much service and we are engaged in service. And obviously all our service is being done with this body. Now the question may be asked, can we also neglect our health and serve Prabhupada like this? They're very inspiring. Devahutis. Can we also do that? Yeah, according to your own capacity, you can do that. According to your own capacity, you should do that. Have demands for eating, sleeping, mating, defending. Generally, we have a tendency to think body should all be, everything should be given properly. You should give the right kind of sleep you should give to the body. You should give the right kind of food to the body. Like this pakka you give and then do devotion service. No doubt, that's right, but that's not the best. You should always deprive the body little. This is a secret. Don't leave the body fully satisfied. Whether eating, sleeping, mating, defending. The principle of tapasya in human being is extremely important in devotional service also. So this paradigm that I keep everything comfortable, my body comfortable so I can do devotion service, it's good. Keep comfortable enough so that it doesn't disturb your life, disturb your service. Now that does not mean that you create in your mind, oh, this much I need. Okay, if let us say you need 6 hours of sleep a day. You're determined, your body needs 6 hours. Give 5 hours, 55 minutes. 5 minutes you should not give. Suppose you like to take 5 chapatis. You're determined. You take 4. Now there are 2 options. You need 5 chapatis. You can take 6 or you can take 4. Or you can take 5. Which is the best for devotion service? Take 4. Not 6. Not 5. 5 is okay. Second best is 5. I cannot take austerity and all. Okay. But Prabhupada and Krishna and Super Soul will be pleased when you see that you are maintaining that principle of tapasya and not thinking that I should be always comfortable in my body. I should practice little discomfort always. We are not the kind of people, we are not in the path of yoga where we want to take extreme austerities. No. You take 3, you take 1, you fast, you don't take anything. It will not help. Because that's not our path. Our path is Yukta Vairagya. At the same time, we cannot be complacent. Your capacity is to work 4 hours a day, let's say 5 hours a day. Work 5 hours, 15 minutes. So everywhere, you are always doing little more than what you can. Why? That keeps the principle of you becoming complacent. So that plus all that you can do, provided your rasa is somewhere else, serving the Lord, serving Prabhupada, serving my Guru, Krishna. How much I can do more and more and more. This is the spirit. And in serving also, the devotee's first aspect is to serve. Second aspect is no problem, result also. Hey, you go out to collect. Okay, my service is first pleasure for me. Result is bonus pleasure. Suppose you go out and come. You have done your best. 5 hours you're gone, and all those things. Now you come back, no result came. Don't be depressed. That means you are simply thinking that result is you went for result? No. You went out to serve the Lord. Did the service happen? If you think service is equal to money, then it has not happened. If service is giving your prana, giving your time, giving your mind, giving your intelligence, if it is given, given. So there is a level of satisfaction. So the devotee gets primary satisfaction in engaging in service of the Lord without distraction into Maya. You can serve Maya or you can serve Krishna. So, okay, I served Krishna, but result did not come. Result comes, it's a rasa, additional rasa. Bonus rasa. We also want result for Prabhupada and preaching mission. A bonus rasa. Okay, I got my salary, I didn't get bonus today. Salary you got. But if you think, I have not got salary at all, then you will become depressed. A devotee can go on and on and on. 1 month, 2 months, 3 months he can go on without one check also. Sometimes Krishna makes the devotee go like that. So that somewhere he has to understand, okay, then he will start developing satisfaction in serving the Lord. Otherwise he will become completely depressed. So these are some of the things that we can learn from devotees. So devotee has got the capacity because of her depth of loving devotion to her husband. To that depth she should take that proportionate deprivation. We can also take to that degree, work harder, see, it is just like if you want to develop your bicep muscles. If your today capacity is 5 kilos, and if you go and lift 15 kilos, what will happen? Everything will tear. So we cannot imitate devotee. At the same time, we are in the same business as devotee. We are in the same business as devotee. What is that? Spiritual advancement. So we cannot stop doing that. What she is doing, we cannot stop doing that. We have to learn how to. I can very comfortable every day lifting 5 kilo, 5 kilo, 5 kilo, 5 kilo, 5 kilo. But that doesn't come into this principle of. It doesn't come into this principle of tapasya. Where is the tapasya? Instead of doing something else, you are doing Krishna's work. What? Okay. But where is the tapasya you are taking? Some austerity. So therefore, you should lift 5 kilos, 100 grams. What happens when you take 5 kilo, 100 grams? In 1 week, your muscle will change its capacity from 5 kilos to 5 kilo, 100 grams. Yes? Now you continue your principle. Today I am comfortable with 5 kilo, 100 grams. The moment you say comfortable, your principle is what? No comfort, tapas. Add 100 more grams. 5 kilo, 200 grams. You go on like that. One day your muscle will be 10 kilos capacity. In other words, we will be able to take up more and more austerity because ultimately Prabhupada says, as we grow, we engage in devotion service, all the demands of the God, each of you might be having, each of you definitely have 30, 40 years ahead of you. So no problem, 30, 40 years totally, you have to come down to, all the demands of the body has to come down to negligible. That is the path of our devotion service. Always take little austerity. That cannot be forgotten. In the name of Yukta Vairagya, personal austerity, principle of keeping personal austerity in life, keeping personal simplicity in life cannot be forgotten. If you are always using a nice car for going out, one day go by bus. It will be interesting. Yukta Vairagya, Krishna's work, Car is given, I go by car. One day my driver did not come. I'll not go. No, call a cab. No, everything should be set. Today no driver, I cannot go. No, I'll go. I'll go take auto rickshaw and I'll go. So always there should be in practicing Yukta Vairagya, we have to be very cautious about this. To keep little tapasya for ourselves. 100 gram tapasya, not too much. Because the principle is maintained there. And step by step we probe, so that we don't fall down into laziness. Suppose I go outside the room, outside the gate, and I want to go to Tumkur. Then, as long as I am turning right, even if I am taking one step, I am going in the right direction. There are two advantages of taking one step. One is I am going in the right direction. Another is I am not going in the wrong direction. Suppose I turn left. Every day one step I go. The problem is not only you are going in the right direction, you are going in the wrong direction. So we should not go in the direction of feeding senses extra than what it requires. For that, we have to follow this principle of always taking some austerity, which is proportionate to your mind and body. But it should be there. It will ensure that you are not on the other side of luxury, of sense gratification. Any questions?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Prabhu, you mentioned about following austerities and the bodily platform. What about mental platform? What about someone is emotional and relational pleasures and all? How do you follow austerities in that?
Yeah. So everywhere, the principle is the same. The principle is the same. First thing is, when it comes to bodily pleasure, there are certain definiteness. Suppose I am hungry. For my body to run, even science has found out, there is some definite carbohydrates required, calories required, etc. required. It is there. When it comes to mind's needs, it's not definite like that. That first thing you have to believe in that principle. The mind's needs or all emotional needs are not all objective. It is something that, how it is a different process. It is something that by the mind itself you can reduce the demand. That is what we are learning in devotion service. Just like last few classes we have been talking about how to develop intimacy with Paramatma. You may say, no, it will all take long time. But now in the meantime, I am suffering, I need intimacy. It will take long time. My answer to that is that it may take long time to experience full intimacy of Paramatma. But it will not take long time for you if by Guru's and Krishna's blessing to get a drop of that intimacy. That drop of that intimacy with Paramatma is equal to, compared to the drop of intimacy of Paramatma, that is an ocean compared to every other emotional intimacy that you get in this world. So you don't have to feel full intimacy with the Lord in order to replace the intimacies of this material world. You don't need. So that's why this emotional need works on another plane. You have to understand that by developing relationship with the Supreme Lord, relationship with Guru, relationship with the deities, these are all very concrete. Relationship with the deities are very concrete. Why the deities are manifest there for us? To feel that, closeness. You feel closeness when you engage in kirtan. It's one of the Very, very confidential activities, kirtan, calling out the name of the Lord. The Lord is standing and you're giving pleasure to the Lord by chanting His name. The Lord is, giving personal pleasure to the Lord isn't it an intimate thing? Direct personal pleasure. You chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra, you're giving direct personal pleasure to the holy name of the Lord. Is there no intimacy in it? So, of all the emotions that man needs, the most deepest need is the need for intimacy. Intimacy includes friendship, everything. So for that we have to, for that, first of all you have to see there are persons that you don't see with your eyes. If you only limit your world to the persons you see with your eyes, you will only have material relationship. In fact, they are all false personalities. Persons who see with your eyes are all manifestation, man, woman, in this material world, they are all duplicate, the false ego. Whereas we have a world of persons, Prabhupada, the Purva Acharyas, Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Thakur, Gaur Kishore Das Babaji, Bhakti Vinod Thakur, Jagannath Das Babaji, Goswami, 6 Goswamis, Gauranga Mahaprabhu, Nityananda Prabhu, specific deities of each temple. Radha Krishna Chandra is the specific. This Radha Krishna is our Radha Krishna. This Gaurnita is our, that means for us they have come. For just few of us. You don't feel intimate? This Krishna and Balaram came for us. Don't feel intimate? So you have to feel that intimacy with the deities. You have to feel intimacy with the Acharya. So all those things. In other words, in fact, this is if somebody says, I have a problem with satisfying my, sense pushes, that is something which is, you have to deal with it in terms of, if you need so much carbohydrate, you have to give that carbohydrate. But if somebody says in spiritual life that, my emotional needs are not met, then there is an easy solution for that. My emotional needs will be completely met by Bhakti Rasa. This is Bhakti Rasa. You don't have to get a full-fledged pure devotee's Bhakti Rasa. The enough that Prabhupada has given us with our own gross eyes, with our gross tasting, we can all develop, intimacy, closeness, personalism with the Lord. And that will keep us fully satisfied. All those things are useless otherwise. Drops, here and there, false drops you get. So, in fact, we should give up this dependence on those false drops of emotional pleasure. Kindness, affection, all these things. Okay, again, in the material world, if it comes, even from the Vaishnava, if it comes, you take it as bonus. Where is your salary coming from? Krishna. From others, bonus. Comes, it comes. Doesn't come, doesn't come. I am happy. To leave carbohydrates is enough. Suppose I give you, say, a poor man, they don't cook sabjis and all. Every day they eat ragi. That's all. Their life is that. They go on. So all the other things that you get is like sabji, this thing, all these things. As long as you get rice, your salary, your life is, maintained. Everything, they have a place. Sense gratification, emotional exchanges between Vaishnavas, that all has a place. You cannot ignore. We are not impersonalists. We cannot ignore. But then our fundamental dependence, emotional dependence is on the super soul, dependence on the perfect personalities, Prabhupada, Acharyas. They are on par with Krishna for these things. जय ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय, जगत गुरु श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय.